This is a short poem and it's called Keep Going. In the salience of silence, sailing on the oceans of your tears, tear yourself apart. Free your path, part the start from the start and finish the finish line. You are alive, despite the timeline of deadlines. Live your life. Fluctuate between the poignancy of sunrise, see the point of heights soaring by. When you rise, surprise is sublime. On the brink of success lies the lining of failure. Sadness skating on the glaciers of happiness. There is pain, but there is also relief. There is heartbreak, but let me break it to you that our hearts make us whole, even when different pieces move into different homes. Hold your peace above the peak of mountains and carry the lantern of light, flowing through a forest of feelings and never let go, even when it feels like you're sinking. Thank you.
He really is as good as he looks. One glimpse and the world stops for a moment as I savor the moment where all the cells in my being activate. My senses start to fluctuate and I yearn for my love language of touch. It's one thing to share an experience, but we are the experience. We define experience. Create waves in unseen oceans, raising pressures to the highest of heights with sensual motions. Communication where no words need to be spoken, no boundaries can be broken as two free spirits align for the ultimate vibe. Align until our vibrations freeze time. Body to body, skin to skin. Love so good it could be considered a sin, but with open minds we're still all in. And every move has meaning that doesn't need to be explained. Dive deep until the end goal is attained and his inner beast is slain by my weapons of affection. What can I say? This really is intimacy at its finest. When his eyes tell me, girl, you the finest. There is no real way to define this. All I know is moments like this are timeless.
Wow. When did we learn to identify ourselves and each other by colour? Ancestry DNA will tell you that you're made of various geographical locations, continents. It will even give you the percentile breakdown. But never does it mention the descriptors of black, white, brown, or any other colour. That's because we were never meant to be identified by colour or hues and shades of skin. See, when asked where you're from, you usually respond with your area, not the colour of your skin. Since when did the amount of melanin I have tell you exactly who I am? Judgments from the outside in, you couldn't even imagine my ancestry connections and kin. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. And yet it's the thing that seems to matter the most. Does your tribe, your clan, the land of your grandparents' origin determine your worth? Since I last checked, there is no country called black, no city called South Asian. There are white houses and white picket fences, but there is no place white that I call home. Which languages do you speak? Which God do you worship? Which culture do you follow? Aren't we all much more than the sum of our parts? See, I have Pakistani blood with some Kashmiri and Nairobi maps thrown in, a British passport, a South London accent, a degree from LSE. I was an Afro baby, I love Japanese food and nod my head to hip-hop beats. The language I speak is English and Urdu, all translated through my mother tongue of poetry. What does that make me? So when did we learn this? We learnt this from birth because the systems that taught us existed long before us, the same ones that indoctrinated our parents. The system is set up to label us, fail us, break us, control us, and they will continue to exist long after we do, unless we break them. And identifying them is not enough, so we have to be the change makers and knowledge exchangers without letting colours divide us. Come together to bring the change and be the change. We won't know how to change things unless we learn. And those of us that learn have to share. Each one teach one, and that's how we become stronger. By communicating, empowering, uplifting, not criticising and fighting. End the colonial legacy of empires now long gone. Let's end the divide and conquer movement once and for all, because we move differently. Yes, we live we move, and unity is strength, but it really feels like no matter how hard we protest, it's not enough, and no matter how loud we shout, it's not enough, and no matter how brilliant we are, it's not enough, and it's never enough for us to just be ordinary, for we were meant to be extraordinary, but when will we learn that we already are?
I'm too busy protecting my peace for you to come and fuck with me.
Jeez.
Positively, I'm planting seeds to overcome wants that look like needs. And Jay Shetty said that if you don't attend to your mindset every day, then your intentions can begin to grow weeds. So I attune myself to self-awareness. What is self-awareness? It's knowing who helps you grow and who drains you. So I upkeep my wealth mentally. There are two types of people in this world: vacuums and radiators. Those who drain your soul, vacuums, and those who yeah, you know like that. There are two types of people in this world: radiators and vacuums. Those who drain your soul and those who radiate warmth and help you grow. I can't be with any and every soul because it's my soul that I need to evolve. You can't fuck with me because it's my ancestry that you're beginning to provoke. See me? I am a queen with very strong genes. There is strength in my tenderness, so I use creation, combination and alchemy for my transformation. I'm tending to the soil, the soil that births my roots. I am like a tree, tall like the electromagnetic pyramids in Kemet. I emit a very high frequency, and I release the negative energies, manipulation and mind games and fuckeries. Remember, don't fuck with me. My spirit guides are protecting me. See you are all yet to see my 360-degree transformation, or transmutation, from dark to light, because there were bad mind individuals that chose to fight my spirit. But me, Amalia, I am from a lineage of healers. They call us witches, but I just use my crystals and attend to my plants, and I sage my yard because you can't fuck with me. Thank you, Amalia.
Hello, I'm still quite new to this, so I'm going to use my book. Be nice, please. Yeah, I write quite short poems, so I'm just going to read like quite a few of them, if that's okay. A cloud of darkness resides above my head. The taste of despair lingers in my mouth. Melancholy blurs my vision, and all I can see is the pain of yesterday, like a broken clock stuck in a moment, searching through the residue that remains. Infiltrated thoughts charge through me like an army, bombarding me and transporting me away through the many suns and moons until my pain is camouflaged and my comrades are dead. Tangled in a web of disarray, caught in a netting of living in the past, clinging to the memories I so want to forget, but the complexity of my pain takes control as the weaving of the entanglement overrides my strength, and I'm stuck exactly where I was to begin with. Intense feelings paired with vivid memories, with excessive pain, a sharp moment that disappears with the wind, like sand dispersing through my fingers, here today, gone tomorrow. Trying to stay afloat, my thoughts of you act as a life jacket, grasping above the unknown, retracting to normality before I hold my breath and transport myself back to reality, where I'm drowning and you no longer exist. Inadequacy travels through my blood and transpires through the air, while I hum to the tune of heartbreak that turns the sky black and the grass brown when I imagine what could have been. As fragile as glass, I've been chipped around the edges, taken some knocks, but the marks have faded, disappeared into the atmosphere, absorbed and perished without warning, though the pain and anguish is yet to depart. Burning temptations, I'm alive with sensation, but hollow of affection that I hope to redeem when the fire goes out and my vulnerabilities shine through. Submerged in darkness, I'm susceptible to the gloom. A fog of obscurity inundates me with the light, being blocked by the endless sorrow. that yearns for your return before the gloom remains eternally. Transfixed in a moment, enchanted by an instant, captivated by the time, the darkest nights were lessened with your voice and soothed with your words. I'll chase your shadow forever and search the world for your footsteps, for I want to leave an imprint like the one you've left on me. A severed heart and an abandoned mind, deserted, desolate and departed when I lost you all those years ago. Thank you.
I'm going to step into my out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to sing a little something that I wrote. So yeah, please clap. Not for me. Okay. I'm scared. It's in these times of perpetual night, I have my torch by my side, so I can walk with the light and shine bright despite these dark times. These dark times. It's all part of the design. The sun comes up, it must come down to come back around. It's in the night that our eyes close, and with it our ego, we go by into our dreams, so who can dine with the Most High, who can be our only guide, our only guide. A flower absorbs the light, growing in the abyss of night. So don't go into the height, fear not. We shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise like a phoenix. We shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise. But before you morph, sometimes you have to die in order to be reborn. So I use the time to dive deep inside my heart, soul and mind. Dance with my shadows, say hi, only then shall I find the divine inside, and use it to guide my way through the night, into the light, into the light, into the light. We shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise. We shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise. We shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise. We shall rise. Beautiful time it is to be alive right now, where we have a chance to slow our lives right down, connect with ourselves, cherish our loved ones, maybe even address a few skeletons in the closet. And from it, grow, rise, rise, we shall rise, 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 we shall rise. Thank you so much, I appreciate that support and love, you know. An elder once said, as the cogs of capitalism grinds to a halt, the matrix temporarily unfolds. So whatever we are facing in our lives right now, that is our reality. Without the mask of society, status, all these distractions, we are asked to look in the mirror and face ourselves. For me, I realized I needed to address my relationships, especially the relationship I have with myself. Since everything starts within, then manifests without, I think it'd be the best place to start. So when the machine starts churning again, the illusion comes back, but we'll never be quite the same. I have to ask myself, have I used this time to grow? Have you? If so, we may find ourselves having to choose between the red or the blue pill. We shall rise, we shall rise, we shall rise. Thank you very much.
This one's called Itchy Feet. I'm suffering from seriously itchy feet, the kind that keep you restless in your seat, frustrated by restrictions, irritated by predictions. These times have got us stuck inside our homes, contemplating lives lived alone. Don't get me wrong, I like my life as it is. I've done some amazing things. I have my kids. I show gratitude for all that I have, a positive attitude towards things that I lack. I've enjoyed the peace, time for reflection, reviewing the past, improving my selection of what I release, and foresee a great forecast. But it feels like I'm about to flatline. But any fun attracts fat fines. I just want this confinement to cease. I am blessed for the adventures and places I've been and for the beautiful sights that I have seen. But how I would love to see some more. Escape the routine and go and explore. I would love to hear music on a beach and dance for days, enjoying the waves as they reach. While the sun blazes down on me, I would love to swim in seas of blue and bake in the sunshine too. I would be happy just being free. Life without dancing is no life for me. Yes, I can dance in my front room. I can turn up the speakers and shake off the gloom, but there's nothing like jumping with a crowd. Moving in unison to music so loud it pumps through our hearts and creates feelings of joy. The bass vibrations, the rhythmic elations, the singing along to the lyrics that relay the emotions that we can all relate to. The grooves that moves us, the funks that tunes us. There is nothing so strong as a dance floor to soothe us. For that is the place where I released all the sadness, shook off the tension and let off the madness. Yes, I can run, and I can meditate, I can read and I can even create, but nothing quite hits the spot as that aching feeling when you dance till you drop. So, until the day when we can do it again, I will channel my energy and start a big plan. I'll focus my mind to imagine and dream, manifest the most amazing party I can. Yes.
I got a lot of new pieces for you guys tonight. So I'm gonna start off with one I wrote the other day. Yeah, trust me. I'm gonna start off with one I wrote called Reflection. You see, most people that meet me would say I'm a good man. But you see, I grew up around violence. Man, I was taught if you see ops, well, you better make sure that you're riding. But let's break that down for a second. See ops, now put that together and maintain your right to be silent. Like Gum, I've seen guys chewed up, trying to fight back with the tridents. I know guys that want to be setting up shop, but they can't do it till they're off license. Some for them places where most don't listen. So just no mourning a death is the same as saving a life. You just need that moment of silence. Because when he's dead, all he gets is a moment of silence. But you see, life is full of sharks. No, pay attention. I said, see, life is full of sharks. My name is
Rewind that.
I said, see, life is full of sharks. No, pay attention. I said, see, life is full of sharks. Man, I was turning keys, but still had a drive I couldn't spark, and trust me, I had more lines than a place where you couldn't park, and that's evident. Realize I'm all about legacy. That's why I'm trying to set precedents. Understand you can buy information, but you can't purchase intelligence. I've never had criminal roots, and that's why I'm planting the seed of evidence. You see, I picture my life as a saga. I'm talking way before Netflix, I went through a series of drama. I mean, most would say I'm a victim of karma. But to tell you the truth, I had to shape up for the first time without a barber. So listen here, King. You see, most of the guys that say no snitching are the biggest rats. True loyalty is a rare thing. It's like when you purchase an earring. In other words, don't be surprised when your peer sings. I mean, most of these guys will say they're here for you. But let's not be stupid. They're not going to do 20 years for you. And that right there is what's killing you. Because we don't learn till we get stung. And that right there is the killer breed. You then take a look at the cause and think to yourself, this couldn't be. You've got to be taking a piss. Because just like a bladder infection, they're risking it all for a bit of pee. Now, you got to see that lifestyle ain't opening doors like chivalry. You see, life's all about choices. And going to jail, that isn't me. I know guys who are literally sick of cells that don't have an iron deficiency. Realize you can have perfect sight. Realize you can have perfect sight, but still have vision that's blurred. It's like when you know that something's bull, but you still want to follow the herd. But you're out here thinking it's fly until you have to swallow a bird. Or maybe you think that it's fly due to the fact that I swallows a bird, but you see that road life is a myth. And it's about time that we're vocal. Don't you find it mad that you gotta have a trap phone to not get trapped by a phone call? I mean, there's too many guys in love with the game who somehow think that they won't fall, and it's sad. Because I know guys who are fresh home who don't have a home they can go to. See, Rome wasn't built in a day. You gotta know some things take ages. So just like rehab, you gotta learn to exercise patience. You see, maybe the way that you live is the cancer. Hence why you're going through stages where you're often blinded to truth and allowing yourself to be guided by hatred. But you see, every day there's a man being gunned down. And just like Caribbean food, realize I'm trying to give you the rundown. Police don't really care about people. I don't really like when they come round. Because anytime you see a PC, it's going to result in a shutdown. Now, I'm from a place where guys be letting cats fly like Kung Lao. And for a lot of these parents, reality don't ever dawn until it's their sundown. So just know it's far from a joke. I tell these kids, you ain't got to sell dope to be dope. Make sure when you look in the mirror, you see a reflection of hope. Because the truth is, we can't get out the hood if the hood is all we promote. This second piece that I wrote it just after, what happened to George Floyd. That was sitting on my mind for like a long while before I wrote this piece. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Now, what do you call activism? You see, it's all about clearing a path. You see, that's the reason we march. Because we pray our chance turn into a chance to push on and further advance. You see, that's why I'm bringing the famine, to ensure that nobody starves. Because the truth is, they don't want to see us awake. They rather see you kick like Nigel Farage now. Do you know what it's like to be black? Well, you wouldn't know half the grief. Now go order yourself 2 quarter pounders, you still wouldn't know half the beef. Now doctors recommend 8 hours rest. And to me, that's kind of deep. Because once you realize that the police ain't for you, it's no shock that you only get half the sleep. Now racism is me telling you that because of your skin you're insufficient. All that does is multiply hate and bring division. Minus the fact that it don't make sense if you really listen. It just never adds up that we're just trying to be equal and not left in a disposition. Now, racism is a cancer and it does go into remission, but it often comes back for a policeman's ill decision. And being black, well, it's like being part of a hit list. Because prejudice is like having a flatmate. It's something that you've got to live with. You see, I'm loving the fact that we're all fired up, but there's something we need to distinguish. The flame that's doing us good and the ones of hate that we need to extinguish. See, that's why I got no chill. But I'll settle for crumbs or even a slice. Man, I would rather the whole meal. You see, the biggest prison's the one in your head, and you've got to realize that's so real. You see, that's why I love being black, because the blueprints to my escape are all over my skin like Schofield. Now, let's talk about the fact that we're not hired. How we're not given the keys but still have drive like a car being hot-wired. You see, being black is having to act like you're not tired of living in a place where you see nothing but hate and shots fired. I'm just hoping you get me. Imagine trying to find out where you come from, but you can't find nothing directly. You see, tracing your roots ain't as simple as looking in yellow pages, especially when you can't find the direct tree. But you see, growing up, I saw nothing but shotting. To be honest, I saw nothing but plotting. I'm from a place where being an op was like having acne. You don't want your face getting spotted. The same place where snitches, well, get stitches. And you might find that to be horrid, but it's just like social media. Because I've seen guys end up disabled, unable to make any comments. But look where it stems from. Imagine your people had been enslaved. 400 years of slavery and never once ever been paid. On the back of bloodshed is how my road had been paid. So when they say black people are lazy, that throws me in a mean rage. Because 400 years does warrant arrest, way more than a police raid. And as people, we're not going to settle like a debt being repaid. As people, we want reparations and to see that debt being repaid. You can say that I'm living in the past because I'm refusing to be played. Realize I'm trying to be free. Understand I'm done being detained. Yeah, here we go. Now it's black man. A lot of the press will be just negative. A lot of us get labelled as thugs or bad boys lacking intelligence. You see, every day they're promoting knife crime and they try to use it as evidence. But if you're judging millions of people, those statistics bear no relevance. You see, that's why knowledge itself is imperative. Because it's true that brothers kill brothers, The problem is we don't see this as relative. I just find it mad how everyone's living this wild life, but no one's addressing the elephant. See, that's because we live in an age where everything currents a wave. We don't get tied to the truth and as a result get carried away. That's because most of us are out here chasing the same dream. But it's mad when you gotta do that and then figure out how to stay clean. I know guys that hustle all night. Sometimes I wonder if they dream. I mean, what do you know about whipping to make cream? Because I'm from a place where everyone sees you flowing, but just like building a dam, they want to stop you from hitting that mainstream. See, I got a few friends who are dead. And some were stuck in the can like baked beans. Because when you come from the block, the only thing you want to do is make great cheese. I said, block, great cheese, see, that's the mistake we're making. Young boys want to fight over postcodes and they see no hope in escaping, which means you're literally beefing over something you don't have stake in. Over something you don't have stake in, which means you can end up taking shots without getting drunk and still get wasted. But most of these young boys have got things really mistaken. Because getting dropped on by the pigs is no way that you bring on the bacon. But these are the things I've witnessed. I've literally watched men get out of jail and now they're back locked up like a slip disc and all because you want to be the big fish. And then end up a victim of karma. Realize their strength in numbers. So even the biggest fish can get ate by a school of piranha. Now be wary of those who throw shade and those who change theirs like an iguana. Because I come from a place where beef usually ends with a tray like cooking lasagna. So don't try claiming to be clueless. Don't try claiming to be clueless. You see, this right here is the naked truth, but most will act like they never knew this. And that's what's making me feel sick, because there's too many guys who want to be bad boys like Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. Now, if we talk violations, I can't say that man never had none. But it's too easy to get tied up here. Trust, I've seen so many men bun, but I grew up on fist fights, and I've had so many mad ones, but it's sad how times have changed, because these days owning a handgun gives you the edge like a Samsung, and it's not right. In a year like 2020, everyone seems to have lost sight, and that's crazy. Because just like an OXO cube, they think that the block's all gravy.
Rewind that. Say it again.
So just like an OXO cube, they think that the block's all gravy. Now, I've had guys try to murder me, and that shows our mind state is in a state of emergency. Because every time that you see an op, you want to put them in surgery. With a gun, you know how to open up, but don't know how to do that verbally. And these are the things that we can't sense. In the hood, one minute it's sunny, the next you're getting rained on like a park bench. So tell me, how do you look to the future in a place where things get past tense and it's that deep? These young boys be lacking in wisdom, so there's no hesitation to back teeth. But just know when you make your bed, you got a lie in it. And a lot of these guys are covered in wrapped sheets, and to tell you the truth, I've never been a talker. I've had people push my patients more than a hospital porter. Now, if you want my advice, don't be reckless, because your past will follow you around like a stalker. I just find it mad how most don't sea levels until they end up in deep water. And trust me, I know the game. I can tell you that it's been sussed. And just know when it comes to the haters, man, there's always an influx. I don't believe in the system. It's the process I'm giving big trust. Because even my great granddad will tell you there's no such thing as a wind rushed. And for that reason, I stay sharp. Because I'm far from white or Scottish, but still operate with a brave heart. Because I know that in order to get my results, I've got to grind like kids in a skate park. So I'm not waiting to get discovered. Just know that I'm taking my shot. And that's due to the fact that I got discovered, whether you find me or not, and it shows. Because a lot of the guys doing long-term stretches never had any long-term goals. And it's ironic, because they'll tell you that they came from dead ends, but these times they saw nothing but road. Realize you can end up looking washed, because you're out here trying to be bold. See, I've got nothing to prove. Hence why I'm minus degrees, because everyone knows that I'm cold. That's what he's done. It's based on mental health. So, yeah, I just want you to hear this. Now let's get straight to the point, because there's a few things that I can't hide. You see, growing up I was known as a joker. But if the Joker has shown you anything, is that every clown has a dark side. You see, when you're mentally down and you're going through all of those hard times, people want to find out if you're okay. You say yes, but you know that you aren't fine. Because depression is crazy. I'm thinking, how did I get here? You see, when it came to drinking, I was like Will Smith. I would leave Fresh Prince on the Bel Air. Because I thought that I never mattered. And trust me, you hit the nail on the head if you clock that I love getting hammered. See, a lot of us don't look for advice. No, we just look for advice, and as a result, we end up balling. Because when you're balling, you don't really care for the price. But that's what it's like as a man when you don't have a plan. What do you know about losing the plot, and you're not even fighting for land? You see, my whole life was a chance. Because I was on track but still doing road, as if I was driving the tram. Now, I know what it's like to be judged without ever taking a stand. I've seen guys that have turned into addicts and spend all day sniffing up brands, and dealers promoting that white power like they work for the clan. Now see, we don't help each other enough, and I'm not trying to force it, but I am going to talk it, because it's like if you're not employed and you don't benefit from human resources. So a lot of the time, we just don't see opportunity, and all of that insecurity will have you stuck at the door like you work in security. Now these things are hard to contend with. The fact that nobody cares until you end up in intensive. A phone call can easily save lives, if not even a message. You don't have to end up like Smeagol to realize my rent so precious. Now let's talk about social media, because there's no need for pretending. How men want to stunt for the gram and birds follow anything that's trending. Realize that it's not just DMs, you've got to look at the message you're sending. You've got young kids losing their senses because they're out here living under pretenses. You ain't got to tell lies to be living one. You can post up 1 million pictures but still not see the bigger one. It's all about this. For you guys, it's all about likes and followers, and you don't realize that you're living wrong. And just by pushing this legacy, you don't realize that you're killing one. Because we don't take into account. Instead of chasing the future, we got everyone chasing the cloud. I used to say that the future was bright, and now I can't even say that's a shout. These days I'm feeling like Jaksxx, because I now have musical doubt. Now I've seen guys get so many compliments, but in real life be lacking in confidence. Because you've got to be mindful of fate and not walk around with a mindful of fate. Social media glorifies money, and that's something hard to escape. I know guys that ain't diabetic, but are the type 2 die for the cake. And it's like being a dog on a racetrack, because you go around in circles, not realize what you're chasing is fake. But you're out here thinking it's fly, but don't realize that you look more tapped than a water supply. You see, these big corporations have always got something to hide, so just like Uber, you got to pick up that they only take you for a ride, and that ride can lead to your death. So you're better off keeping your head down. And trust me, I know how death looks, but it's more ironic that I know how death sounds. And it's more ironic that bodies then turn into a head count. I was mentally sleeping for so long. Yeah, I was mentally sleeping for so long that I might as well have been bedbound. But now I'm fully awake. I'm also alive, but also dead proud. But the truth is, I stand up. Nowadays, I'm making plans, not just seeing how everything pans out. Because being lazy is just like being a bus driver. Because you've got to stay in your lane and spend all day looking for handouts, and it's all mad now. I mean, just picture the stress. So we don't treat mental health like a fun-page. I don't treat mental health like a fun-page story, because I'm not trying to talk to the press. Many of us act like it's not real, and that's something we need to address. Because there's no way we can elevate if we're not taking the steps. We've got to start embracing the truth. Suicide is a problem, and a lot of us don't see the clues. They don't broadcast or televise it enough, so a lot of us don't see the proof. But imagine finding your friend with a bulletin, and that's got to be breaking news, and that's got to be more than damaging. As people, we got to get together. Well, that's what I'm gathering. We got to help those who are mentally grappling and make sure that we give them the backing. It may not be an easy goal, but just know that we still got to tap it. Because I'm making a choice that I'm not going to suffer. And just because I come from a place where my bread isn't buttered doesn't mean I'm going out like Pennywise, another clown that came from the gutter. Yeah, that's the one of them. Anyone that knows me, I don't like doing love poetry. Never. So you're gonna get this, you'll never hear it again.
Exclusive.
Don't put me sweet, man. What? Alright, we'll talk after this.
Ready?
Give me a second. That's how buried in my phone is. 1 second. Yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, and if you ask why I wrote this, I wrote it because someone actually asked me to write it for a show. Now I used to think that love was a sham. But me being single was never really part of the plan. You see, truthfully, I use my pain as a crutch, and that makes me a little bit harder to stand. And it's like my feelings bordered Iraq, because if anybody tried to get close, I ran. And I found that as well.
Say that again, say that again.
Wheel it up, wheel it up.
So truthfully, I use my pain as a crutch, and that makes me a little bit harder to stand. And it's like my feelings boarded it up. Because if anybody tried to get close, I ran. Now I found that a jar, because often that would leave me in a jam. And I knew that was far from fly. Because when everything's up in the air, it's a woman that helps you to land. It's a woman that helps you grow and expand. It's a woman that helps you further the plan. It's a woman that keeps you mentally fed and shows you nourishment doesn't just come from a can. Now I realize it's more than physical. It comes down to your essence. See, because of you, every day feels like Christmas. Because I'm so wrapped up in your presence. And it really comes down to your calendar. And trust me, you've got to look at your exes like marked off days on a calendar. Because when you give a man drive, there's no way you should act like a passenger. And if life is truly your game, it's your love that will unlock character. Now see, because of you, I've got no interest in clubbing or going to the bar like a barrister. I just want to see you in the ring, because you never saw me as a challenger. And to be perfectly honest, I can't fight you had me at hello. It's like I woke up and smelled the coffee, because I knew in order to get you on board, I had one shot like an espresso. I was content chasing money, to the point where I didn't think I would settle. But question, what's the point making all of these bands if you got no one to rock with like heavy metal? And in my view, that's a crisis. I mean, physically, everyone's looking for the nicest, but don't really know what nice is. For me, it's all about balance. Because I want a girl that gets paid, but I still look at as priceless. And one that isn't afraid to be vulnerable, because I don't see weakness in kindness. Plus, I can see in your eyes, sis, that without you, I ain't blowing up.
Rewind.
I said, plus, I can see in your eyes, sis, that without you, I ain't blowing up. So it's my job to respect you. Don't forget that. It's my job to protect you. Because I know that you've been through hell. And just because I'm a black male, don't mean I'm going to hold it against you. Realize your role is essential in helping any man reach their potential. Without you, he's offbeat, and that's why you're so instrumental. Plus, you're not easily led, and that's what's drawing me out like a pencil. And sometimes, and you may see me as mad, but I love women to the point where I never play blackjack if you told me the queen was a slag. And I don't say that in jest. Just know that I'm banking on us, and I hope that you look to invest. Because if I had one wish like Ray J, I would make you my prince. You know what? I'd make you my queen. Because I can't see you as anything less. So I'm going to keep it 100% because you're pure. And as time rolls on, man, I can only be sure. Because I took one bite of the fruit, and I felt it right to my core. Some call me an average Joe, but I don't want to be a player no more. And that's evident. And what's evident is you float my boat in ways you can never think. And just like Bluetooth, everyone sees a connection, but where that pair that will never sink. So I am going to call you an angel, and I will admit that you're heaven sent, because that's not hard to admit. But to begin, it kind of felt like slavery, because I took one look in your eyes, and those lashes had me whipped. Now the attraction between us, automatic. And as much as you want to give me stick, you gave me a love life. And above that gave me a reason to love life. Realize you're the part of the story that I'm not looking to unwrite. And it's now because of you that I know that I'm on next. God, nobody told me that love bites. Yeah. Alright, cool, I'm just going to go straight into this. You see, I'm not trying to be like nobody else. Understand that I'm just trying to be me. That's the reason I don't act up. Because I come from a place where man carry pumps. And they'll make you pay for the gas like BP, but it's ironic because now I'm sailing. But still drowning in knowledge that only the deep sea, and these days I'm more than happy. I mean, I'm literally over the moon like E.T. Because I've learned that all you got to do is believe in yourself and watch your plans work out like a PT. Because trust me, I've been through a madness. And I've learned that you can't ever fold. Just play with the cards you were handed. Because when you've got that automatic drive, you'll find success to be standard. But with success comes haters, so watch all the people you hang with. Because just like Wi-Fi, you get strength from the people you band with. And that shit gets deeper. So anyone blocking your goals should never be seen as a keeper. See, growing up, I had to be bold. So anytime I fell off, I came back wicked, like alopecia. And it's good that I learned how to listen. Because being deaf in the hood only gets you a need for the reaper. But it's all part of the process. I mean, I'm all about action, but never been one for the showbiz. You see, I'm out here trying to get Jay-Z money. And some might see that as hopeless, but I'm going to stay focused on bread until I'm in the same spot that Hove is. You see, for me, the picture's always been clear. And that's because I never lost focus. And there's no point taking a back seat because life doesn't come with a chauffeur. And if you think that it does, well, that's more than a bad look. Because I've learned that everyone goes through pain, but But if you don't ever heal, you're always going to be on the back foot, and that's harsh. But take me, for example. As a big boy, I was always seen as an outcast, and it's true. But you see, one thing about life is it's always changing. But you see, change is inevitable. It comes with a process of aging. But in a sense, it's like immigration, because these are problems we don't like facing. Visa problems, immigration. Yeah, I know guys who twist caps like medication. The same guys ain't never left this country, but are packing like a vacation. And trust me, they're not letting no click slide like a PowerPoint presentation. And because of that, you see pigs on the strip like bacon. But for once, they don't discriminate. That's because the heroin's brown and the crack cocaine's Caucasian. You know, the one thing that seems tragic is the fact you learn how to smell death when you come from a place that wreaks havoc. And if everyone's looking for stripes, well, don't be surprised when you see patterns. Because I'm from a place where beef fathoms, and trust me, the shit's deep. The few times I've waded death, well, that's what taught me to dig deep. So just like clown shoes, everything I achieve is a big feat. So I give thanks for every bit of life, because I'm not from a place where shit's sweet. And to tell you the truth, yeah, I grew up with no dad. I still had a mum that put me on game, so I can't really say it was so bad. My mum showed me that the system is a game. Hence why I'm gonna keep playing it like I ain't got a second control pad, because I'm fully done witnessing tragedy. I understand that a lack of morality has led to a rise in mortality. Plus being lost, you won't have the mental capacity to hold things down like gravity. But see, I come from a good home. I can't say that the roads weren't enticing. But then realize that the streets are a game, where jail and death are the prizes. I didn't realize who I was, and that feeling's far from the nicest. And just like losing a passport, man had an identity crisis. Trust me, man, I've seen proper hate. But just know that you got a graph because laziness and success don't correlate. The truth is, I'm a born winner. So any chance of a win I'm gonna take. You gotta treat life like surgery in order to learn how to operate.
Yes.